My name is Olivia, and I am a senior psychology student.
My name is Camila Lopez Avendano. I'm a business major.
My name is Manuel. I'm a sophomore. I major in data visualization.
My name is Mia. I'm a junior. I'm majoring in data visualization and science, technology, and society.
My name is Les. I'm a junior and I'm majoring in business.
My name is Isabel Hernandez. My major is psychology and American Studies. I'm a junior.
And we also want to extend a special thank you to Dana and Nivea, our two advisors. Thank you guys so much for all of your support throughout this project and this process. So this is our table of contents, just giving you guys an idea of what we're going to talk about today.
So for our project, our statement of need is that a lot of Latino high schoolers don't have access to knowledge or opportunities to learn about a lot about college and higher education opportunities. So we wanted to help address that within our own community. And then our project, we decided the best way to do that was with our project. We had 3 different days over a period of 3 weeks where we would go and talk with high schoolers. Our first day, we went to Bothell High School, met with their Latino students. Our second day, we went to Inglemoor High School where we met with their avid crafters. And then our third day, we had a campus visit where we invited them to come from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and had a campus tour and talked.
So we had 4 different objectives. We wanted to create a safe space for Latino high school students to ask questions about post-high school life. We didn't want to just restrict it to college because we understand that a lot of people aren't going to go to college. They have different options that they're exploring, including trade school, going straight into their career, etc. We also wanted to provide resources to those high school students to empower them for their college/post-high school journey. But we also wanted to inform Latino parents and guardians on the resources, so we ended up doing a lot of outreach to parents, whether it was going to parent nights or attending different events that we knew that they were going to be, and we also wanted to bridge that language gap. So we ended up going to a lot of events that were structured in Spanish. And we also wanted to give a tour of Bothell, and we wanted to showcase everything that the campus has to offer, and like possible other things that different colleges may offer too.
So for touching on the objective of mentorship, personally, during my high school senior year, I wasn't really looking forward to the college path that my parents really wanted me to strive to be on. And my high school didn't really have the resources to kind of like put me on that path. All they really said was just go to college and took us to college tours, but on those college tours I really didn't connect really well with the students that were leading those tours. I'd ask them what their major was. They'd say history, which was pretty cool and all, but I was looking for something that's what my parents were trying to get me on board with, something like more academic pursuing. Anyways, so I felt that if as mentors, if we put these Latino students in and take them into seeing our experiences of college, they can kind of put themselves in our positions and ask the questions that we were trying to ask to those on, such as relating back to my experience, like me to ask questions that would have really helped me further on develop the interest for college. And so, yeah, we really honed in on making sure that we let them know there's these resources available. You should really take advantage of these grants, all of these opportunities. You shouldn't let them go to waste. And so that's how we further develop the fundamentals for the mentorship aspect, that objective. And for the objective of informing Latino parents. This was developed as we went along with our project. So as we had the accessibility to really communicate with these parents through a Zoom meeting call to inform them of our plans, we really didn't take into account the turnout of how many questions and interests that these parents had, and make sure that their sons and daughters were trying to, the parents were trying to help them to advance with their college goals. And that really touched us, and we didn't really account for this much support that the parents had, and they were really eager to learn more about the college process, college applications. And so what we did was, for our future plans and project, such as the campus tour we're planning to take the Latino students on, we made sure to have any translation for the parents, and we made sure to account for parents in general.
Well, for development and implementation, as Manuel mentioned before, I think for us, we chose this project because it was kind of personal. And in the beginning, we brainstormed what we want to bring to the students, what information. And in my case, it was very personal because as first generation and all that, I didn't know how my daughters will end up going to college. So I want to be a bridge for those students. So we start building up from the last year information, and Dana and Nivea give us tips of visiting the Latino club prior to our plan of going to the session for the students. So we visited them a few times, just kind of making a connection with them, building up a community. We brought snacks because food always brings happiness. So we were there a few times. We set up a Zoom meeting with the parents, and as Camila mentioned it, we use a lot of Spanish to communicate with the parents because they were eager to learn, and they feel really comfortable with us trying to bring all the information. It was a lot of parent involvement, and when they have a meeting, we went over there and kind of, again, keep trying to be familiar to them so they will feel more comfortable approaching to us or approaching to ask questions. We learned that there is a lot of people around, but we are kind of separated, so we all connected, and we were very successful on bringing the information. For the implementation, my team is very tech savvy, so they documented everything, and they have planned every step that we were supposed to do, even the sessions, because we knew the objectives. And since in the first meeting, we passed around the sticky notes, kind of, trying to figure out what was important for the students. So that's why we building up our objectives. And Bothell had a great response, and Indian was a bigger population of students, so it was more challenging, but it was very good. And everything is documented in a Google Drive, so we are hoping the next generation build up from that and being more successful every time.
Perfect, and then on to the outcomes. So for the in-person session, we went to the Bothell High School first because they were really responsive towards our team. So basically our objective was to kind of get to know them, get a feel of like what the leadership um, basically what the Latino Club needs from us. And it's also just a way for us to kind of introduce ourselves, like the program that we're in and what ways that we can support them. And from the outcome, we were able to get an idea of like what sort of questions they wanted to ask, what other things that they're confused about and want more information. And we, so because of that, we were able to create like 2 surveys. So one for the parents, and then 2 for the students, just because one is in English and the other is in Spanish. And for the student survey, so these were some of the questions that we asked of them to fill out, just because we really want to make sure that what we're doing is going to be worth their time, but also for us to kind of adapt and do like further research on some of the topics that we're not entirely sure about. And as for the outcomes, so for the actual mentorship, so we did one at Bothell, and then we also did 2 sessions on the same day for Inglemoor High School, and they went pretty well. So what we kind of did was that we separated into kind of based on that, on the selected topic that we were pretty versed in, and we kind of were responsible for like a group of students. So each round was about 10 to 15 minutes, and it went pretty well because, I mean, we selected like a topic that we were knowledgeable about. And then as for the Bothell tour, so it's to provide like an in-person experience for both the student and the parents, to kind of demonstrate like some of the services we have here at Bothell. And I think it was a really great experience because we had like 2 RAs in our team, so Camilla and Mia. So we were able to do a lot more in the tour. And then we also have Isabel, who is a part of the diversity center. So we also had more accessibility in that department.
So as you can imagine with a project of this size, there are going to be many challenges that we faced. I noticed that the main one we faced was communicating with so many different representatives and liaisons from the different schools. Obviously, we're working with North Shore School District as a whole. We're working with Inglemoor High School. We're working with Bothell High School. There are liaisons at UW, of course, with the campus where we had to talk to admissions and all kinds of other groups. So we really had to make sure we were keeping track of who we were talking to, who was going to be responding to who was our main liaison, who was our liaison for each of these colleges or each of these high schools. So we kind of took the approach of just contacting everybody. There was nothing wrong with establishing rapport with people, and so we chose to try to get as much communication out there as possible and to divide that work so that it was equitable for all of us. Another challenge we faced was creating a program that actually interested high schoolers. High schoolers are very picky, and I remember the other group mentioning we did high school projects that they can be really disinterested sometimes. So we had to make sure that we were doing a project that not only was actually interesting and engaging to them, but was on their terms. We had to make sure we were doing something that was going to be helpful to them and something that they would take away information from. And then our final challenge was structuring programs and choosing topics. Like I just said, we wanted to do something that was interesting to them and chosen by them. So, like we mentioned, we took a bunch of feedback from them, both from surveys and from group sessions we did on sticky notes, and centered our project around making sessions and sections that they could actually go to and explore more about different topics, ranging from the pre-high school process or the pre-college process to actually applying to college or pursuing something completely different, like the workforce focus. And so our approach was really just to split into groups and to each handle what we felt most comfortable talking about, because we wanted to be honest with them and be upfront with them, show up with ourselves. And then we had a lot of really, really great lessons that we learned from this project. The main one that I feel like I learned was to show up as myself in leadership and to only speak from my experience. Obviously, we didn't want to walk into these high schools and tell all these high schoolers, hey, we have the golden ticket, we have the key to all the information we need. But we did want to tell them, hey, we are going through this experience as well, and a lot of us went through this on our own. So we're here to support you and to answer any questions that you might have. And for the questions we couldn't answer, we wanted to connect them with resources. The second one was to do after-school activities, and remember to always have snacks. Snacks are very motivating. are highly, highly food motivated, and so it was really good to create a good environment by just having food there and having things for them to look at. And then we realized that after-school activities are better than doing during-school activities. With Bothell, the kids who volunteered to be there were a lot more engaged than the kids who had to show up there for an AVID class. And so we found that when kids volunteer to do this sort of thing, they tend to be a lot more excited about completing it. And then our last tip was to not take things personally and to lean on your team. Of course, when you're working with high schoolers, they might be not always as engaged as you want them to be, or they have different styles of engaging. So it's important for us to not take anything that they were thinking or saying personally, and to just offer the information that we have, and to take whatever they gave us back. And then to lean on each other, because this, obviously we have to do a lot of last minute adjustments when you're working with that many people. It's hard to make sure that you're absolutely staying on track all the time. So working with different people and leaning on our team really helped us to support each other and to, in my opinion, do our best work in a collective.
We took a lot of photos during the event, but we didn't include any of the photos of the Zoom calls that we attended, prior to the mentorship visits that we did. But here we have some of the pictures that we have from the Bothell visit. This one we felt very confident in, and we were pushed in. We pushed through the other ones, and but yeah, we all had our own individual table, as said before. But yeah, we also had snacks on this event. We were very confident after this event, just because these are all students that volunteered to be here. And our next visit was kind of a check of like, oh, this might not always be structured, or people aren't going to be always this confident or excited to learn about this. But second one, Inglemoor, we had a huge group. So we did have to get volunteers in LLI. We outreached to different members too that was interested in LLI, but maybe didn't get into the cohort this year. But yeah, we had 2 different sessions, one huge one and one of a smaller group. And then the on-campus tour. This one we felt that was very successful. As mentioned earlier, we were able to really push our personal experiences, whether it's working in DC or being an RA. This one we had food, we had parents attend, so we had a lot of people excited to be there. But yeah, it was overall, we got our feedback on the sticky notes, as you can see on that bottom side, or photo 2.
Alright, so what we've learned from this project is that there are students who want to know more or want to reach out more, and if you go and give them those opportunities, they will take it. We think that we were able to help some of these students. We had some students who wanted to go to other schools. We had some who were planning on going to Bothell or wanted to go to Cascadia College, and we were able to give them some good advice about like how classes work and or like the pre-dentistry club. We had one very determined student who already knew exactly what she wanted to do. And then we also thought about how we wanted to see this for the future. This is a cohort that happens every year. Specifically, Bothell High School will have a mentorship program with us every year. And we thought of how we could help them for the future. So we thought of a toolkit. So like some of our experiences, because we built off of what was done last year, and to continue building so you can just get better every year. We thought of using the feedback that we've gathered from this year and write it out so that they know what, oh, these high schools really like these, but they didn't like that. They thought this was valuable. And then more virtual section options, as not everyone's always able to come in person, or especially for the campus visits. Not all students were able to come because it is like pulled out of school on a Friday. They were happy to be there, but not everyone gets virtual. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
I think there's no questions because you were very thorough.
No complaints.
I'm curious what you found most surprising with the surveys that you all conducted.
I wouldn't say,
I don't think there was anything honestly very surprising, because I feel like for most of us we were in the same boat as a lot of these students who really didn't know a lot. Like For me specifically, not a single question that they asked us was ever surprising because they were both questions I myself had. Like when I graduated from a high school in Puerto Rico, and we didn't have like a guidance counselor or anything. We didn't have financial aid resources. So like, when I was going through college, I had to figure it all out through like Google basically. And a lot of these students, while they had more, and their counselor that came with them for the campuses, it was very nice. It's still confusion because you don't always have like a parent or a close family member who has more personal experiences and can tailor it more to you. So I don't think there was really anything surprising.
I will say I did find it surprising that a couple of students knew exactly what they wanted to do.
Yes.
There were a couple of students who were like, I want to go into psychology. I want to go into engineering. There was a student who was like, I am dedicated to doing dental. Like, I want to be a dentist or a
Yeah.
hygienist or something like that.
She already had her 5-year plan.
Yeah, so knowing that there were a few students who were like, I've got my whole path paved out, just give me the details, was pretty heartening actually. It was really nice.
Yeah.
It's very special.
One thing that stayed consistent though was most of the surveys that we sent out before the meetings, they usually ended up saying something about financial aid.
Yes.
It was mostly all of the feedback that we got, or one of the biggest tables that they knew, this is something they needed to know. And it wasn't just FAFSA, it was also WASPA. So giving resources to that too.
Another question, sorry, I'm full of them. Tell me more about your interactions with the parents. You said you all had conversations and interacted with them. What that looked like?
So Isabel and Ness went to parent nights in person, and then we also, all of us were there and hosted a virtual info session that was about an hour long, where parents were able to get onto Zoom and ask us any questions. It was hosted entirely in Spanish, as well, because most of the parents who had the most questions typically only spoke Spanish and thus didn't have as much access to other resources because they were English. And then for the 2 school visits, there weren't parents in there because it was like during school hours. But for our campus visit, we had parents come, and it was very nice to see them come, be interactive and learn more. And then Isabel and I went around, and every time like we had a tour, every time the tour guide something, we'd go and translate for them.
So as the tour guide was guiding the students, we were kind of behind telling the parents this and this, and it was very nice to see the connection, like the light, oh, I understand what my kid is talking about, and that was very satisfactory to see, because that's the point. The students to have the support, not only at the schools with the mentors and advocates, but also at home when there is most needed, and that they feel all the world is connected, not that a disconnection between home and school. And we saw a lot of eagerness on that. So hopefully next group can do more with parents.
So us returners here, we did the same thing last year. So I think you guys did a great job of building on what we did. So congratulations. I had a really quick question. We had someone in our group last year that decided, like in the high school, they decided that they were going to Bothell that year, and now they're going to Bothell now. Do you have anyone in your group that decided to go to Bothell for next year or in the upcoming years?
I mean, there are a lot of prospective students who are really interested in going to Bothell, especially at Bothell High School because of the proximity. It's like 5 minutes away from New Bothell. So a lot of students were committed to going to either New Bothell or Cascadia. And I think the main feedback we provided for them was, hey, do you know the difference between like a community college and a 4-year school? Do you know the different degrees that you're going to be able to get? I don't know if I have like the name or a particular person off the top of my head who was 100% committed.
The girl
but
who
I
wanted
think
to go to that district.
that was, yeah. But I think that's also a testament to just how many students were interested in going to U of Bothell and Cascadia, and that was really, really exciting for us.
Yeah, they were pretty excited. Like at one point in the Bothell one, I pulled out Les's laptop. I didn't have mine. I pulled out Les's laptop and we showed them what my plan looked like because they were like, "How do classes work? And how do you choose? Do you get to choose?" And we're like, it was a really good experience to like show them like, yeah, college is great.
And in the during the trip to that, in some point, we told them, I know this is a lot of information, this is just huge, but just remember this, always ask. You know, if in some point you remember, oh, they were mentioning something, but I forgot, well, go ask to different departments. There is a lot of departments. If they don't answer the question or it wasn't clear, just go another one and just keep going and use your voice. And that was very, they got it.
We also made sure to like really emphasize to them that we're not here to just advertise you to Bothell. We're here to be very, very honest with you. So like if we think something sucks, we're gonna tell you. So since I was alright, I got directed all the dorm questions since I've lived in the dorms for 3 years now. And they were asking me about it. It's like, yeah, you might not like it that much. It does cost is more expensive than tuition every quarter. So I had one student who was like, be straight up honest with me. Does the dorms suck? And I was like, yeah, they're okay. They're better than others. Yeah.